I mean, this is the biggest single vote that's happened in currency markets in some time. Whatever happens with the vote in Parliament today, there's going to be a pretty sharp reaction in the currencies. And for that, there's nothing else that the market is paying any attention to. It's going to affect the euro. It's going to affect the sterling. It's going to affect the cross. It will affect the view economically going forward for both Britain and the EU. The EU has been playing this a bit as if it doesn't matter very much what happens to its economy, but I disagree with that. I think it matters very much.
Yeah, and the setup basically for today, because there's been a lot of votes, there's probably a lot of confusion out there, okay, about what exactly is going on. And I'm going to dramatically oversimplify this, okay?
Please, it needs it.
So basically today, Theresa May, the prime minister, is putting forth kind of a divorce agreement. And she's got sort of what she wants and what they're going to give back and sort of this soft Brexit, if you will. Three possible outcomes. It passes, which nobody thinks is going to happen.
Correct.
It loses, but by a small margin, or it loses by a big margin. If it loses by a big margin, it is likely Theresa May may lose her job, because then they're going to have a general election for possibly for prime minister.
That's very correct.
What's the best outcome from a dollar sterling perspective today?
Well, for the sterling, the currency, and even for the euro, the best outcome is for Theresa May to lose by a very small amount, because if that happens, I would say certainly under 100. If it's over 100
votes,
not quite lights out, but it's a very bad situation because they have no way to bring it back. But if it's under 100, and the lower the better, she has more chance to convince, to go back, keep tweaking, to go back to the European Commission and say, you know, this is what I need, especially if the amendment from Murison, which will put a deadline date on the backstop, December 2021. She gets that, and it goes by under, I would say, 75, certainly under 50, then there is a very good chance that she'll be able to bring it back and win and put it through. If
define
not,
winning.
She'll be able to get it passed. She'll be able to get an amendment.
It meaning the soft Brexit deal,
that she
where there's a Brexit deal, the separation from the EU,
correct,
that has conditions that everybody wants, or at least that her party wants.
Well, it has conditions that some people in her party want. You know, for this agreement, everyone dislikes it to some degree. Nobody's fond of it.
Listen, there's, what is it, 639 men and women.
Right.
It's bigger than our Congress.
That's correct.
In a nation that is much smaller. It's 639 people voting on effectively a divorce.
That is correct.
Nobody is going to agree on everything, if agree on anything.
Right.
It's just a measure of the momentum, is it not?
It's true. The biggest problem for Theresa May is that there's a large section of her own party, the Conservatives, the Tories, that are against the deal, largely, I think, because of the Irish backstop, which they don't have a way out of that for England, for Britain, at any set time. That's the biggest problem.
Border issue.
Yes, the border
Amazing
issue.
How border issues are kind of mucking up politics.
It is.
Globally, is it not?
It is. It's interesting that from a historical point of view, the Irish question is still with Britain and its internal and international domestic politics. But if she can get that approved by under 50 votes, then I think there's a chance that this can go, even though nobody likes it.
Can I ask you a really dumb question?
Please.
Just because it's so doggone early here. So we had a graphic earlier. We're going to bring it back up here, which is, I know you're a currency guy, but I want to ask you from a market. It's a stock markets. Since the June 2016 original Brexit vote,
right,
the Japanese market has soared. The U.S. market has soared, up 25%. The U.K. is up nearly 10%.
Correct.
Germany's up 7%. China has soured. But the point is, global markets have not exactly tanked since the Brexit news. Are you surprised by this strength in equities?
In equities, no, because the Brexit vote, for much of that lead-up period, there wasn't a lot of focus on what actually would happen. These types of negotiations go to the very end. This one is even going almost beyond the very end. So no, and even if it does fail, I think the fears are overstated specifically from Brexit. But I think that in the short term, if it fails, then the emotional reaction for the equities is going to be strong.
What if it passes? What if May pulls a rabbit out of the hat, the parliamentary hat,
a very big rabbit.
No handicappers, no bettors, because they bet on everything in the UK.
They do.
Think this is going to happen. But hey, Syracuse hit a full court buzzer beater at the half yesterday and beat Duke. They were unranked. Anything can happen.
That is true.
What if it passes?
If it passes, there will be one of the most astonishing runs up for the sterling that we've ever seen.
The market's not prepared. Currency desks aren't prepared for this, are they?
I don't know that they are so much anymore, because currency desks now are driven very much by computer programmers. They don't really have, I mean, it's been a while since I've sat on a currency desk, but they don't have the same responsibilities for the positions and for the pricing that they used to when the traders were running the desk. But it will be quite astonishing if that happens.